choose not to live in a world of filters. Realize your mistakes. Set the foundation for your success. Get some wins. Knucklehead Podcast.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to another another edition of Knucklehead Podcast. We got with us today the man, the myth, the legend,
a true knucklehead.
Well, for lack of a better term, he's really a patriot, an American hero in my mind. Tim Kennedy. He is here live in Austin, Texas. We are literally in the belly of the beast. We are at Hipsterville. I think they call it the Domain here in Austin.
Not only we're at the Domain, we're at a socialist
edition
of a workspace, which is actually cool. Yeah. I like community, but they really push it.
They really do it up here. Yeah. Well, last minute notice on my part, I was like, oh shoot.
That was my fault. Well, it's cool.
It's not your fault. It's mine.
Austin, Texas, South by Southwest. Dangerous.
What else are you gonna do? So again, what we're talking about here on this podcast, I mean, everybody who listens to this podcast, they have a common thing. They present one image, and 9 times out of 10, probably 9.8 times out of 10, there's something different behind closed doors than what they present. So we want to perpetuate a thought process that is get rid of the filters, stop being beta, have an alpha mindset, not necessarily alpha from a standpoint of you're trying to rip or kick doors in and take no prisoners. Yeah. Because to a certain extent, that's kind of unrelatable to some people, but we want to do it with that type of attitude.
Man, I think people misunderstand what alpha means.
I think so too.
Like it's not a Cro-Magnon man asshole that's like walking out into the woods to kill a wolf.
Sure.
Like the only bit of that short example that is relevant is it's a man that wants to provide, that will protect. And then everything else is about selfless service. It's having the courage to not have an ego, not to have pride, to cry in front of your kids, to be a romantic enough to, like we were talking crap about the Domain. I have reservations at this little place around the corner called Dance With Me for my wife and I to do some more tango dancing, because we go down to Argentina every year and we go and watch tango dancing. So like, is that alpha for me to go and dance with my wife with tight pants and a perfect posture and nice fancy shoes? I think it is. That's my version of alpha.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dancing to dudes. Quite frankly, can you think of a better way to pick up? If you're a single guy and you could dance and you got some game, that's actually a check in the box for a lot of people. My wife, it's funny, you can listen, I appreciate you saying that, because now she's going to be like, all right, we're going to take dance lessons now. Yeah. She was a dancer all throughout high school, so I can't dance to save my life, but something tells me I'm going to have to start doing.
You're going to have to.
Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. Well, getting right into it in here, part of what kicked this thing off was just an irritation that I had post-military, right? I started a business here in Austin, a fitness and wellness company, right? So we provided fitness services. And just through that whole process of providing corporate wellness services to companies and individuals, I got really irritated with people's offense that they take all the time. And then what started to perpetuate it was it seemed to snowball into everybody got offended about everything. It's like the flavor of the week. So there seems to be this glorification of a beta mindset for men. And you said a couple days ago, I'm not sure when you recorded it, but on one of your podcasts, you said it's not what'd you say? A man would never even think about trying to overpower somebody weaker. So what's the problem with aggressiveness or forward, like aggressive patience, I think is what Jocko calls it. What's the irritation or pushback against that mindset, in your opinion?
I think we're supposed to be strong. I think we're supposed to be powerful. I think we're supposed to be fearless and courageous and be able to run through a wall, tear the jaw off an alligator, and beat a bear to death with it. That's all great stuff. And with all of that power, you could call it white privilege, you could call it male privilege, you could call it whatever you want. It is. Like, that's how we're supposed to be. And that gives us a position and an opportunity to be servants, to be selfless, to sacrifice. Yeah. And oftentimes I think that the people that are offended, they don't know what to do with somebody that is strong, smart, successful, but wants to serve.
Yeah.
And that scares people sometimes. And their offense oftentimes comes from their own insecurity. Well, here's another opportunity as a barrel-chested freedom fighter, meat-eating, beer drinking, motorcycle-riding, bikini-loving American to yet be assertive again and recognize that person's scared and that they're uncomfortable and that they're easily offended and help them. Like take yet again another opportunity and let your pride go away again and figure out how to make them a better version of themselves. That sucks.
Well, first of all, it requires you to take a tremendous amount of responsibility on the front end to know how to do that, to set that example for somebody else. So you take it upon yourself, and I've seen in a lot of cases where you've really gone out of your way. One example is the entire thought process of sheepdog. I heard you go through that with Jocko on his podcast. There was a colonel, I forget his last name. His last name right now. Can you talk about that? Can you talk about, because you said something. You said they don't know how, right? And so with sheepdog, you literally are teaching people how, but you've done it. So you've literally unfolded and stripped the process down.
Yeah, man, I'm not teaching people what to do. I'm teaching people how to think.
Okay.
Like I can show somebody how to throw a jab. I can show somebody how to draw a gun and shoot. But what I really have to show them, I'm not telling them what to think. I'm trying to show them how to think. And those are very different things. How to think about freedom, how to think about sacrifice, how to think about, right now where we are on the third floor of this building, who's in this room, who's in the adjacent room, how am I getting out, where are the exits, where did I park? These are all things that I set up in a very, even though I know who you are and there's no concern or threat, when I emailed you, I had walked the whole entire room, the whole entire building already, and kind of figured out what's going on.
Getting your lay of the land.
Just teaching, even now, giving myself an opportunity to how I'm supposed to think. So with sheepdog response, there's all sorts of acronyms. There's the OODA loop, and for us, it's the 4 A's. Awareness, assessment, action, and analysis. We're just trying to get people's minds to open up. What's happened in the past, just today, we had a bridge collapse in Florida. A bunch of people got hurt. In Parkland a couple of weeks ago, 17 kids got murdered by an idiot. You could go to a gay nightclub in Orlando and at the Pulse, you're just there to have a good time with your boyfriend. And people are getting shot up. You're at a Christmas party in San Bernardino and somebody comes in because they don't like Christmas and starts shooting people. You're on a marathon in Boston and you get blown up. You're at a Marine 5K in New Jersey and there's pipe bombs on the road. You're not supposed to live in fear, but we have to live awake now. This is a different world. This didn't happen when I was 10 years old. Yeah. For me at 10, it was like, don't drown your little sister in the pool. So it's a different thing now. And we're just trying to prepare a pacified America with what reality in the future is going to be.
That's interesting for a couple of reasons, and I didn't want to stop you during that, but you touched on something. You said that you don't teach people how to think, or excuse me, you don't teach people what to do. You teach people how to think. And, with somebody who works out twice a day as much as you do, you got your UFC fighter, you're a rare breed. To get to that level of athleticism and compete at that level, you're talking about a fraction of a percentage of the world's population. So the repetition and the discipline associated with that, you understand what's required in order to actually think dynamically, because you have to train your brain and your body to follow. You train your brain first and then your body follows. How would you say for a veteran who's getting out of the military, who already has that structure put in place, they already have that repetition, you rip away that framework, what do you do now?
But you said it. You train the brain first and the body follows. So the structure's gone.
Sure.
But the brain already knows what to do. You just have to execute it. It really comes down to discipline. God, I hate like giving credit to the military for anything. But when you look at their core values, they're doing the right thing. The definition of integrity of the military is doing the right thing when no one's looking. So what is the right thing? My son, my 2-year-old son, was taking a nap. I'm caught up on work because I flew in this morning and I got to sit on a plane for 3 hours and just slam emails for 3 hours so that by the time I landed, I could go straight to my family, hang out with them, crush a workout, nap time, crush another workout. Come here by the afternoon. I got a bunch of people coming over this afternoon and we're going to go hunting tonight in the middle of the night. So how disciplined are you being with every second of your time? So you've been trained. You know what to do. You know how to be efficient. You know how to make the tough decisions and take the hard right over the easy wrong.
Right.
Now it's just about doing it. You don't have somebody to tell you to do it. You just have to do it.
Sure.
Goddamn Nike, just do it. But seriously, that's what you have to do. You just have to step up. You have to own it. You have to take that individual responsibility and execute.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Do you think that? Well, I'll offer my opinion, and then I'd like to get Tim Kennedy's. There's not enough examples where people choose to give credibility or credence in this day and age, where there's younger guys who are going or who are taught the path of least resistance, and they're never really corrected. And so, because they're never corrected, they continue this pathway of path of least resistance.
The path of least resistance is almost always wrong. It is. Scripturally, so they say so many people take that broad, easy, comfortable route, right? But it's the straight and narrow. That's the difficult one. Sure. And it's phrased that way for a reason because it's hard to get there. The easy solution, the quick fix, I have a sickness, let me take a pill. I'm fat, let me do the 20-minute diet. All of those things fail. Ultimately, they not only fail the short term, but you in the long term. It's one of the reasons why my whole career, 17 years as a professional athlete, I never took steroids once. And I was tempted millions of times, maybe. I can't even put a number to the amount of times that I thought about it or I had somebody come up and offer it, but not one time. And not just because I lost world titles twice. I fought for world titles 2 different times and I lost both those fights. Maybe I would have been a world champion with a little bit of juice. But not only would I lose my moral high ground, not only would I lost my path of what the straight and narrow looks like for me. Never having an alcohol sponsor either, never having a tobacco sponsor. Those are all very intentional choices.
Interesting.
But more importantly, it was shaping my mind to always know what hard felt like, what always pain felt like. Yeah. If I'm going to go in the back after a fight and get stitches, the refs or the doctors would look at me like I was a madman. I was like, do not give me any painkiller. You just sew that closed. Because I wanted that pain. Because that pain and that struggle is where we get better. How do our muscles grow?
That's true. That's true.
Our muscles grow when they fail, right?
They tear up.
They tear. The mind is the same. You have to tear. You have to break. You have to reach that point of struggle to get better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to live in mediocrity the rest of your life. You're going to be lukewarm. That sucks.
So the lukewarmness and the adulation that average gets now, and there's a myriad of different examples of people who are high performing and not disciplined in their workouts. Yeah. Right? They're high performing, but they're not disciplined in their actions. What I mean by that is, you see infidelity, you see all types of crap that happens when men objectify women in a certain way, where they belittle, the actions of somebody else, the discipline of somebody else. And you see it happen. You see athletes all the time. I can think of an example right off the top of my head. Somebody who I know who's a professional athlete now, about ready to get married, and was messing around with a friend of a friend of a friend. Yeah. And now she's got consequences she has to deal with. If you know what I'm saying, it's terrible.
Last night in Southern Florida, one energy drink company was there for a party. And the energy drink companies, they're notorious to talk about objectifying women. All those girls that are tiny little skin-clad things.
Not that it's like that.
They can do whatever they want as long as
it's fitness.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful wife. And mine's a feminist.
Yeah.
You know, like she can do whatever if she wants to wear whatever she wants. God bless her. You know, like if she wants to wear a burqa, she can do whatever she wants.
Sure.
You know, but last night specifically, I won't say there was an assumption where some of these girls thought, okay, I'm the kind of celebrity guy there. They're like, what room are you in? You know, like, I'm traveling by myself. My wife's here in Texas. Like it was almost so blatantly expected, like that. Hey, you know, we're the paid pretty girls, and you're the paid celebrity guy. So this is just how it's supposed to work. And I was like, girl, this is not how it's supposed to work. I'm getting up at 3:30 in the morning to drive to the airport to take a 6 a.m. flight to the first thing smoking, so I can get back to my family, so I can get back to work, so I can get back to the right things and the hard things.
Yeah.
Saying, oh, my room is 14209 is a really easy thing to say.
Sure.
But
it's not the next day when you go with your kids.
Right. It's
thinking about that then.
It's the hard right.
Yeah.
You know? In this context, I'll say the difficult right, just so it's not funny.
Well, we are. We are in Austin, so I didn't know you had a sense of humor, man. That's cool. You're special. All right, so we have. There was one thing that I wanted to ask you about with. So there's a group of guys that I've connected with. They're veteran entrepreneurs, and there seems to be this misinformation out there about specifically veterans that you know, you go to a restaurant, you happen to get a discount on your meal for being a veteran, and that can perpetuate this kind of dependent mindset if you're not careful.
Entitlement.
Okay, there we go. So that's kind of what I wanted to hear about. Oh man, that's kind of nasty.
Yeah, I just sliced my heart open and tore it out and put it on the table. So that infuriates me.
Well, what's interesting is how can somebody, I guess, delineate between being receiving support, and then I guess appreciating a compliment.
What were you promised when you signed that dotted line? You raised your hand for the first time. What did they say you get? Here's your pay grade.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it.
We're going to give you a bed sometimes, and you'll get food sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. There's no like you're going to get disability, you're going to get discounts. You know, it's not like I'm a veteran, so now my opinion matters more, or I'm a veteran entrepreneur, so you should give me my business over somebody else. No. That's not how it works. How it works is we're supposed to be better at everything because we went through the structure and the discipline and the self-sacrifice and the courage and the pain and the suffering, the struggle, so that when now on the far side of it, we know what success looks like. So if I make cupcakes, I'm a veteran cupcake company, right?
Sure.
I don't want to. If my mom, yeah.
It's actually not bad. I wonder if
there has to be one somewhere. So it's like you should come buy my cupcakes because I'm veteran owned.
They're red, white, and blue frosting.
Yeah, that sounds just like I want to go and burn that place down.
Sure.
You know, how about this? You have the most delicious, moist, fantastic cupcakes. You figured out a new recipe that you worked hours and hours and hours on. Then you flew to South America to source the best bean that you're going to use in your coffee-flavored cupcake. You know, and then you have the best goddamn cupcake on the planet. So they're not coming to buy it because you're a veteran. They're coming to buy it because it's the best cupcake ever. Insert any product, any company, doing anything.
Yeah. That's
That's what it should be. They're not coming to you because you're a veteran. They're coming to you because you're the best at what you do, and you're the best at what you do because you're taught how to do it in the military. So go succeed. Stop being a bitch and expecting any form of handout. Because I never got promised it. I got promised pain. I got promised bad knees and bad back and, nightmares. Well, I got that, So now let's move forward and succeed.
Yeah. In spite of all those. Actually, probably because of them. Just
For sure, because of them.
Yeah. Because they fueled you. How's your wife deal with, so you're an intense guy, right? Which is
not really.
Well, let's say, when I say intense, you're a driven guy.
I can focus singularly on a thing until I achieve it.
All right. So you don't like that because I got it. I apologize. All right. So how we have here. So when it comes to seeing something that you want, you go after it. Okay.
Yeah.
That can create a little bit of a weight behind you in some cases. And if people are right alongside you that aren't running at your same pace, it can create some tension. And so there's communication that has to obviously facilitate keeping relationships intact and everything else. So how's your wife deal with deployments and that type of thing?
Yeah, so I got a baker's dozen coming up here. This will be my 13th deployment that I just found out that I'm going to probably be going on. General Mattis, who's awesome. I'm like, to Mattis, he pretty much said that every special operations guy is going to deploy in the next year or they're going to get out. No matter who you are or what you do or how famous you are, how much money you have, it doesn't matter. Yep. If you're a shooter, go do your job, which is cool. But that as a guy that's been in the military for 15 years and we've been at war for 17 years, I kind of checked that block. I thought, no. And I got a lot of people looking at me, and if I'm not going to go, then they can't go.
Right.
And so I have to lead by the front and be an example of what selfless service looks like. And when they say go, when the country calls, you're still, no matter who you are, you're going to go. My wife came into this with eyes wide open. Not that she can't complain, not that she can't be mad, because she can be and she does. But when we got married, it was a couple of months before I went to Iraq to go kill I think he was the Ace of Hearts in the stack of most sought after terrorists on the planet. That's what we were going to do. She knew that. At the same time, she'd also see me on the weekends, come back with swollen hands and black eyes from fighting. It's like she knew what she was signing up for. She eyes wide open, no question. This is what part of the bargain was going to be. At this point, is it more than she asked for? For sure. Having a husband means that you're supposed to have him, not 3 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Not 6 months out of the year, 12 months out of the year. Yeah. And she's struggling right now.
Yeah,
she's figuring out what this is going to look like.
My wife, so I deployed in 2008, 2009. So she married me, and it's interesting. The day that we got married, I think maybe 11 days, 12 days later, or something like that, I was supposed to go on a 2-year unaccompanied tour in Okinawa, and so she spent almost a full year living in Dallas, and I lived in Okie. Then through the process of doing the Marine Corps bureaucratic dance, was able to actually make it happen where she could come over there, and then I deployed.
Yeah.
So she moved, left her family, and came to live with me because that's what a husband and wife are supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
And then I left for her deployment. So that was the one time that happened. However, understanding how incredibly strong of a woman it takes to be to do the right thing and be above reproach. You know what I'm saying? It's an environment that in the military you see more often than not doesn't work out.
You want to see a bad bitch? You want to see the coolest girl on the planet? The one that we should really be worshiping? Cool, a dude in body armor with a beard that's kicking indoors and slaying terrorists. That's pretty cool. That faithful wife back home,
yep,
that's paying bills, that's working a job, that's picking up kids, that's wiping asses and cleaning noses and making sure that you don't foreclose on your home, that your car doesn't get repoed, that your electricity stays on, that we'll still take some sexy photos and send it over to a man overseas.
Picture Friday.
Dude, that's a badass girl right there.
Yeah.
They're rare.
They are.
But man, when you find one,
yeah, they don't come apart.
No, they are.
Yeah, it's about giving them reasons.
They're a diamond in the rough.
It's rough.
Real rough.
Oh, what's interesting is when you know what you got, that you got one. That's the most incredible part. You were talking about hunting in one of your most recent, in one of the most recent ones I listened to. How did you start doing that? Was that just something that was an extension of how you grew up, or?
Yeah, man, I grew up in the country. As a California kid, I was like, "Man, you're from Hollywood?" I was like, "No." Like, you're a surfer? I was like, no.
Cali.
Yeah.
Where?
It's the Central Coast.
Okay.
But it was like an hour to anything for us.
Okay.
So like, we just fought with Mexican kids that were, trying to.
I understand.
We were outnumbered.
I'm from Texas, so I can read between the lines.
I mean, I fixed barbed wire fence. I baled hay. I was a slave on a ranch.
Sure.
There was no opportunity to do anything besides work hard. Split wood all fall, throw hay all summer, fix pipes all spring, fix barbed wire all winter. That's just the life.
So you've essentially, that's kind of where you got your start hunting, or
yeah, like I carry sometimes a revolver with a snake shot in it, and then like a little 10-22, a Ruger 10-22 with a 30-round magazine. If we saw a coyote or we saw a skunk or anything that hurts land, we shoot it.
Yeah.
And that was just normal. See a woodpecker, it dies. You see, there's probably about 10 things on our kill list that was just anytime, any place. And then my dad would take us, occasionally to actually go hunting. But that was more of like a teaching opportunity than it was a hunting trip.
Sure. That makes sense. You see a lot of that, and especially out in West Texas now, where people who, quite frankly, they need people to go out there and get rid of. There's a bunch of wild boar that just will rip up the land. You name it. So,
dude, if you open my email right now, I probably have 5 or 6 requests for me to send hunters to a very specific area to kill a specific predator.
Sure. That's awesome.
Just east of Pflugerville, one of my friends, Coy and Valerie, they have a ranch out there, and they have some cats that are tearing up their baby cattle, and like 2 of them, they have them on their game cams, and they're like, please come and save. They've lost 3 or 4 cows. And that's $10,000, just gone, from a cat.
Yeah.
So, and then if you get down to like South Texas, man, you could kill hundreds of thousands of pigs and not make a dent in the population. Yeah. You go out to West Texas, they're begging you to shoot elk because the elk are destroying the water troughs and they're breaking fences. So like they can't control their own property because the elk are so big. Those Roosevelt elk would just be like, I'm just going to walk through this. Was that a fence?
It's a big. Those are big animals.
They're huge.
It's ridiculous.
Part of hunting, we are laborers of the land. We are wardens and protectors of this very fragile system. Yeah. And nature can't always balance itself because other parts of human interaction screws it up.
Sure.
So we as hunters, as good stewards of the land, as alphas, we have to be servants. We have to protect it and balance it.
How often do you go?
Every time.
You don't have to. You're just talking about being gone all the time.
Yeah. But I got home today. Yeah. I start work tomorrow. I'm gonna go hunt tonight.
Yeah.
So you can find time. You can find what your priorities are.
That's true.
And also for me, it keeps as hunting, like especially at night. So I'm wearing a bump helmet with night vision. Sometimes I'll even hunt in body armor, so I can get accustomed to moving at night.
Yeah.
In my kit.
Interesting.
So it keeps my tradecraft, my skillcraft, very sharp.
Yeah.
I can still move through the woods. You see this hairy-handed ape, and you forget that you put me in the woods at night, and I'm at home.
Yeah. Yeah. You talked about that, and what was it? I can't remember which podcast it was, but you were talking about like if somebody came into a movie theater and started. You were like, oh, well, first of all, what I would do is I'd hear the door click. Right? No, it was the gym. If somebody came in the gym and was going to hurt, you were like, I'd hear the door click, and then I'd be in heaven. I would be.
Yeah, like the hardest thing would be not to show my excitement and maybe hide my erection.
Yeah.
As I finally get to do what I've been preparing for.
Seriously.
All the time.
Yeah. You got to love it. You got to love it. The things that we wanted to talk about today, and the reason why we started this is is I don't want to say the avoiding of mistakes, but not being willing to take the bad whenever you go through a mistake.
Yeah.
And so therefore you try to avoid it as much as possible. For instance, you go to college. You didn't do what you said you were going to, like study. So you bomb on a test. I've been guilty of that.
Yeah. Super easy, obvious consequence for not doing something you're supposed to.
Seriously.
Very, very obvious.
But whenever you go through that process so much, it seems like today, in today's culture, specifically, there's this thought process that you're almost coddled up until you're about 20, 21 years old, and then all of a sudden the world will just kind of hit you in the face. So, in your experience, whenever you're dealing with soldiers or service members, do you see that much difference between those guys or guys who were in college?
Oh yeah, I love hazing.
You love what?
I love hazing.
Oh, hazing.
Yeah, I was hazed like to a degree that it would probably be criminal if I don't even know what the statute of limitations would be on some of the things they did to us.
It probably has passed, but.
And it was like the greatest thing to prepare me for succeeding later. Is it a huge jump, like a departure from a dude standing over me and pissing on the back of my head to now being a successful entrepreneur, to a successful UFC fighter, to a successful soldier? No, because I can see all the connections from there all the way until success, and all the little, being beaten with a phone book, and being trapped in a cage that I couldn't stand up on, and being in a box that I couldn't even take a full breath, like true torture and real hazing to be a better version of myself. Like just today, midday workout, I'm grappling at Gracie Maida, and yesterday when I was in Florida, I went to another gym that there's probably 15 black belts there. Of course, they all know who I am, right? Now, could I have gone and just done what I'm good at and just beaten them with Tim Kennedy Jiu-Jitsu? Yeah. Or could I have realized this was an opportunity for growth, swallowed my pride, swallowed my ego, and try and do the things that they were trying to do and give them an opportunity to maybe even choke me, to sub me, to tap me. Where the whole room would see Tim Kennedy tap. But in that, I would maybe get a little bit better. So today, in this midday workout, where it's my second workout already, I traveled, only got a few hours of sleep last night, and getting tired towards the end of class. We're doing 3-minute rounds, back-to-back goes, and I saw my little inner bitch come out. It's like looking at me in the eye, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" We had that moment where I saw an opportunity to take an easy path and do a thing where I end up in a dominant position. I could recover and rest for a second, or I could do that other thing, which I would have to expend just a little bit more energy. And in that moment where I was like, not that I had this existential the world froze.
Right, out.
Yeah,
looking at
there's
yourself.
no out of body experience here.
Do the right thing. Do the hard thing.
But there was very clear. I could do the easy thing or I could do the hard thing, and I'm going to get better doing the hard thing, and I'm just going to stay the same doing the easy thing.
Right.
So I went the hard route, and the feeling of knowing that you just gave yourself an opportunity to grow, to improve. Yeah. You can't. I fight for 1 in a million. I fight for moments like that now, and they're so hard to come by for me. I look at.
You're talking about after you stop fighting, or you're just in
general now. I'm at a point where, to get a little bit better, I have to struggle to find those opportunities.
Yeah.
I'm decent at so many things. I have to travel to Brazil to find somebody that can beat me in grappling. Sure. I have to go to a world championship shooting competition to find somebody that's going to beat me in shooting. I have to go to every time I teach a sheepdog course, I fight everybody in the whole entire place, and I shoot against every single person that's there.
Sure.
You're like, let's do a stress test. You guys are going to watch me do it, and then I'm going to race every single one of you. So it's going to make them better, but it's also going to give me an opportunity maybe to get just a little bit quicker, just a little bit faster. And God, I hope I find that guy that beats me.
That's cool. You don't run into very many people that are like that. Like you said, you have to travel a long ways to go find people purposely put themselves out there.
You have to have the courage to fail. That's what it comes down to. You know, it's like, I'm traveling to crazy places to find somebody that can do something better than me.
Yeah.
But the first thing is that I'm having the courage to go and find somebody that will beat me.
Sure.
Like, be that guy. You know, you don't need to be the smartest guy in the room. Like, every person that I'm trying to find to help me run aspects of my businesses, I want them to be smarter than me.
Sure.
Like, I want them to, like, embarrass me. How cool is that? You're always like, man, that is a way better idea than my idea. Let's do your idea.
Let's go with that one.
Yeah.
Let's go with that one.
Wait, so that's going to make this way easier? Cool, let's do
I
that.
was talking to somebody last night about that. They hired somebody to, I can't remember exactly what it is that they were doing, but the topic came up, forgive this analogy, you're talking about choking people out and going hunting and everything else. This person was in a fantasy football league or fantasy baseball league, right? So not quite the same level of competition.
Yeah.
However, their strategy to win that particular league, I was like, who does that? Who thinks that way? Well, this guy did. He had won, I guess, one season of baseball or one series of baseball. I don't play those, so I don't really understand the fantasy components. It's just not my thing. However, this guy, he won like a pitching league or the fantasy baseball points with only batters, even though it was designed to be pitchers because he was able to draft it a certain way. So his ability to think of a new strategy or just a little bit of a wrinkle, different than everybody else, was the separator. And you see that, I guess, I don't want to say elite, I don't want to classify, but you see that a lot with academia, that if there's a different strategy or a different component or a different, like somebody who was part of the right fraternity, that's going to be the pathway for them to be successful. When more often than not, that's typically the thing that will hold that person back as opposed to create a network for that. Does that make sense?
100%. That's I think staying within a comfort zone. You know, I hate cliche mottos. You know, like being an out of box thinker or like step out of the comfort. Blah 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 blah. Just if you're doing something where you're just comfortable, where everything is easy for you, you're never gonna succeed at anything. You know, you're never gonna. If you look at some of those brilliant authors, like they were tortured, troubled people. You know, you look at some of the best commanders from the MacArthurs and the Pattons to the Huns to the Spartans to the samurai. You see a life that is strife with conflict and struggle.
Sure.
You know, and you look at artists, sculptors, painters, the ones that made things that resonate to this day, in their massive struggle, pain, suffering, and so why? You're almost damning yourself to boring. You're almost damning yourself to lukewarm. You're almost damning yourself to just getting by,
right,
by being comfortable.
So those guys that I mean, there's people who think like you, right? They just don't necessarily access the media to get the message out, or they're just, you know, they're not as outgoing, or you know what, they want to live their life as an example and you know, lead their kids or lead their family. Exactly what you're talking about. It's not necessarily about putting yourself out there to be that example. It's just leading who you can.
Yeah. So I don't,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Truth be told, I'm not doing what I do for anybody else but me. Like, people see what I do, and people, I'm not doing it for them. Like, I'm doing this for me. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be successful. I'm trying to make my family secure. I'm trying to make them safe. I'm trying to, you know, like, I'm not leading by example. I'm just doing. I'm just living, and I'm living it. Like, I'm too dumb I'm not smart enough to like have this big plan of like, okay, here's the first guy out, last guy in. You're like, no, I'm just doing what I say you're supposed to do.
Right.
And I fail all the time, and people see me fail.
What's one of the biggest things that you've, in your experience and the people that you've met, you don't have to name names or anything like that, but where you saw somebody failing and you couldn't really do anything about it, or they weren't humble enough to admit that they were just screwing up and you just sat there and watched them? Or did you try to stop them?
Try to stop them.
You did?
Yeah.
You think of like an example of one that you could share?
Yeah. So I have my buddy Shane that I work out with.
Yeah.
We're together a lot because
He's a cool dude.
He's a good dude. He's a really good dude because we both have the same demons or similar ones, and like we are intimately familiar with those demons, those same temptations, and we travel in similar circles. And he's one of the few people that I never have to question why he's with me. You know, like a lot of people, they come around because they want something. They want access to this, or they want something free, or they want me to promote something. This is I can't do anything for Steiners. You know, like, what am I going to do for them?
That's true.
Yeah, right. Do you want tickets to UFC?
Almost work.
Or you could just buy every single seat at the whole entire venue.
Sure.
But like we go to a gym to work out, and there's a period of time where when we first got there, the girls that were at the gym were like predators. Like they wanted their hunters. They wanted us as trophies up on their wall. And we wouldn't leave the gym unless we left together. And we wouldn't walk in the doors unless we were walking in together. You want to talk about buddy system.
Yep.
You know, it's like we're never leaving a guy behind.
That's ultimate accountability right there.
Yeah. And when we're looking for a specific example, it's when somebody would come up and be like, hey, I'm going to go hop in the shower real fast. They have like private showers there. It's like, do you want to come? You know, and I see my buddy beelining for me, you know, because he didn't need to know what words were coming out of her mouth.
Sure.
But he knew what proposition was being made. You know, he's like, hey, I'll go order our drinks, and we got to roll, right? We're going to head over and get that midday practice in. It's like, yes, we are.
Right about now.
Yeah, like right now. Let's go get that shake and head out the door. And then we shaped what that environment was like because people understood that that's just not how it worked.
Sure.
Could Shane have just hung back and watched me fail?
Yeah.
Yeah, he absolutely could have. You know, I today chastised some of the guys I was training with for not having the courage to fail. As we're wrestling, as we're grappling, like I'd shown exactly what I wanted them to do, and in those opportunities when they could have tried it, they didn't, and they just did what they thought they were safe and comfortable with doing.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, like I'm okay. But they didn't take that risk. So instead of getting a pat on the back that they ended up in a good position, they got castigated by me, being like, you didn't have the courage to maybe fail. That's when you're going to get better. Yeah. You know, so sometimes being a good friend is, stepping up and stopping somebody from failing, but sometimes it's letting them struggle through it and pointing it out so that they can not do it again.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's how you, in some cases, you teach your kids, hey, you put your hand on the stove.
Yeah.
Get burned, man.
It's a self-correcting problem.
Yeah,
my wife and I fight about that all the time. She's like, not to be a helicopter mom. I'm like, let him fall off that rock. So it's only 2.5 feet.
He's gonna be fine.
Yeah, he's gonna get a bruise for sure. He'll probably get scraped up if he falls into that bush. Maybe he's got a thorn and a splinter, and we'll pull it out.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah, heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah. But he'll be better.
Yeah.
You know, he'll either be on that rock and he'll fall off.
My 3-year-old put a Lego up his nose.
Impressive.
It was. I was shocked. Well, the thing was, I went to go grab the tweezers right away. My wife was like, no, stop. So we ended up actually getting it removed. We had to go get it removed. But it's interesting you talk about that because, you know, had we not even been there or, you know, you start thinking about what would have happened if we just ignored that, you know? And you were talking about being a helicopter parent. Just the funny thing is, as kids, boys, we just do this. We do irrationally stupid stuff.
That's why women live longer than us.
That's true.
It's because they don't put their Legos up their noses.
I'm sure that factors into it a little bit. That's funny. Well, I mean, I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, we're right up against it right now. So, thank you for taking some time.
Of course.
Do you want to talk any more about Sheepdog or anything in particular?
I mean, life is good. It's going to be a good year. I got a couple of deployments coming up in the next few months.
How does that affect your show?
I'm almost done shooting the whole show.
Really?
Yeah. So
Do you do that before you deploy, or do you have to get it all wrapped up beforehand?
yeah. So I'm not like I don't have a day off until I leave, and then I leave, and then maybe I'll make it back by Christmas. Like I might not be home until Christmas, and it's freaking March right now.
You got to take advantage of that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we appreciate you dedicating some time to this.
Yes.
What's next when you get back at the beginning of next year? You're going to start another apparel company.
I got Ranger Up. That's a good apparel company.
Yeah.
I got Woobies, good shoe company, and Sheepdog, good defensive tactics company, and then I partner with a bunch of people and things that I've been using my whole life, like 511, Leupold, Gerber. Like people are like, oh, you're sponsored by them. I was like, yeah, no. Like my first knife was a Gerber when I was like a Royal Ranger, and then I carved my name in the back of my dad's upholstery and his seat in his Suburban, and I was like, no, my brother did that. It's like, then why does it say Tim K in it?
Tim was here.
Yeah,
it was him.
It was him. Like the first scope I got was that VFX Leupold to go on my Ruger 1022. Like the first time I deployed so like this is just stuff I've used for forever, and that's why I represent these companies because like this is just what I use.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm too dumb to be anything else but myself.
Modest. That's cool. I get it. So that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you. Listen, this is Steven. Hey, we're signing off today. Knucklehead Podcast. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Google Play. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us a lot of places. Just Google. You know how to use it. Tim Kennedy. You can find him at Tim Kennedy on Twitter.
Yep, at Tim Kennedy MMA on everything. Yeah,
Tim
Twitter,
Kennedy,
Facebook, Instagram.
Cool. Very good. So appreciate you tuning in, guys. We'll talk to you soon. See you.